Everyone wants to be rich. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people will never get there. Not because they don't work hard, not because they're not smart, but because they're focused on the wrong assets. They chase money, thinking it's the prize, when in reality, money is just the byproduct of something much bigger. If you lost everything today, your job, your savings, your business, what would you have left that could rebuild it all? That answer determines how rich you truly are. Today, I want to show you 8 assets that don't just make you rich once, but keep you rich for a lifetime. And the best part, most of these assets aren't handed to you by luck or privilege. You build them, you design them. You earn them through the way you think, the way you act, and the way you live. The first and most important asset you can ever own is your mindset, because everything else flows from it. Wealth doesn't begin with money, it begins with how you think, how you approach problems, and how you interpret the world around you. Most people assume that being rich is about finding the right opportunity or getting lucky, but opportunities are invisible to those who aren't mentally prepared to see them. If your mind is wired to look for excuses, you'll find plenty of reasons why something won't work. If your mind is wired to look for possibilities, you'll find solutions where others only see obstacles. That difference is what separates people who create wealth from people who watch it happen to someone else. A strong mindset is not about being positive all the time. It's about being resilient. It's about training yourself to keep moving forward when things break, because things will break. It's about understanding that failure is not a wall, it's a stepping stone. Every breakthrough, every invention, every successful company exists because someone refused to quit when logic said they should. If you can build that mental toughness, you've already acquired an asset that compounds over time, because each challenge you survive makes you sharper, stronger, and more capable of handling the next one. Another part of mindset is curiosity. People who grow rich often have an obsessive curiosity about how things work and how they can be improved. They don't just accept the world as it is, they question it. They keep asking why. And then they ask why again. That kind of thinking leads to innovation. It leads to spotting inefficiencies that no one else notices. It's not that these people are born smarter. It's that they cultivate the habit of thinking deeply and exploring problems that others avoid because they seem too big or too complicated. You also need to develop a mindset that values long-term gain over short-term comfort. Most people trade their future for the present. They want immediate gratification, so they take the easiest path available. But the mindset that builds wealth plays a different game. It's willing to be uncomfortable now to create freedom later. It's willing to learn skills that don't pay off immediately, to work on ideas that might fail, and to keep investing energy into something that doesn't give a quick reward. That ability to delay gratification is one of the clearest markers of future success. And mindset isn't just internal. It affects how you interact with the world. A poor mindset sees competition everywhere and believes resources are limited. A strong mindset sees collaboration as leverage and believes that value can always be created. Instead of being threatened by other people's success, you learn from it. Instead of thinking, why them? You think, how can I do that? This shift is subtle, but it's massive in its impact. The world tends to give more to those who approach it with an attitude of contribution and growth rather than fear and scarcity. Mindset is an asset because it attracts opportunities. People want to work with someone who believes in what they're doing, who stays steady under pressure, and who can see possibilities beyond the obvious. The right mindset creates momentum because it draws in talent, resources, and partners who align with your vision. And once that momentum builds, it's incredibly hard to stop. Money follows mindset, not the other way around. Do you want me to expand the second keynote next in the same 700-word style, or do you want me to finish the entire 20-minute speech in one long draft? Knowledge and skills are assets that grow in value the more you use them. Unlike physical possessions, they can't be taken from you, and they rarely depreciate. If anything, they compound. The difference between someone who stagnates and someone who thrives often comes down to whether they see learning as a one-time event or a lifelong process. People who build wealth understand that the world changes too fast to stay still, and the only way to stay relevant is to keep evolving. Knowledge isn't just about collecting information, it's about developing the ability to connect ideas, to see patterns, and to solve problems that others can't. Skills are the practical side of knowledge. You can read about how to build a business, but until you've negotiated deals, managed people, and built products that fail and succeed, your understanding stays theoretical. Real wealth builders seek experience that stretches them. They put themselves in situations where they don't know the answer yet, but are willing to figure it out. Every skill you learn, even the ones that seem unrelated at first, becomes a tool you can use later. Coding, storytelling, design, leadership. All of these are levers you can pull when the right opportunity appears. The more levers you have, the more control you have over the outcomes in your life. One powerful aspect of knowledge is that it compounds like interest. Reading one book might not change your life, but reading consistently over years shifts how you think. Learning one skill might not seem valuable, but layering it with other skills creates combinations that are rare and highly valuable. For example, someone who understands engineering and also knows how to communicate ideas clearly can influence more people and execute bigger visions than someone who only has one of those abilities. This principle applies everywhere. The intersection of disciplines is often where the biggest breakthroughs happen. Adaptability is another critical part of this asset. The skills and knowledge that make you successful today might not be enough tomorrow. Industries evolve, technologies disrupt entire fields, and new problems emerge that no one predicted. People who cling to what they already know eventually get left behind. The ones who stay ahead are those who see change as an opportunity to learn something new. They're not afraid to be beginners again, even after they've already achieved some level of success. That humility to keep learning is what keeps their asset growing instead of decaying. And while formal education can help, it's not the only, or even the primary, way to build this asset. In fact, many of the most valuable skills you'll ever acquire come from self-directed learning and real-world practice. Wealth creators read obsessively, seek mentors, and test their ideas in the field. They use feedback loops, observe the results, refine, and act again. Over time, this process makes them faster and more effective at turning ideas into reality. Knowledge and skills also amplify each other when shared. Teaching others forces you to understand concepts more deeply. Collaborating with people who have different skills exposes you to new ways of thinking. Building teams around complementary strengths allows you to tackle challenges no individual could solve alone. In this way, your personal asset of knowledge becomes a collective asset that multiplies everyone's potential. It's important to recognize that knowledge and skills don't just create wealth, they protect it. Markets crash, industries collapse, and companies fail. But if you've built yourself into someone who can learn quickly and apply new skills to emerging opportunities, you can rebuild. You're no longer dependent on a single job, a single product, or a single market. You've developed the ability to create value in almost any environment. That's why this asset is so powerful. It makes you not just rich in the moment, but capable of staying rich for a lifetime. Time and focus are two of the most underestimated assets when it comes to building wealth, and they are also the most unforgiving. You can lose money and earn it back. You can lose energy and recover it with rest. But once time is gone, it's gone for good. The people who become truly rich understand this on a deep level, and they treat time not as something to be managed, but as something to be invested. Every hour spent is either building your future or diluting it, and the difference lies in focus. What you choose to pay attention to and what you choose to ignore. Most people spread their time thin across dozens of distractions, constantly reacting to whatever seems urgent, but rarely addressing what's important. Wealth builders think differently. They ask, what are the few things that, if done well, will make everything else easier or unnecessary? Then they double down on those things and cut out almost everything else. This requires discipline, because the world is full of noise, notifications, opinions, trends that pull you in directions that don't serve you. Protecting your focus means saying no more often than you say yes, and it means being okay with missing out on things that don't align with your priorities. Another critical part of leveraging time is systems. You can only do so much on your own, no matter how hard you work. The rich don't just work harder. They build mechanisms that allow their time to multiply. This could be hiring people who are better than at specific tasks, automating processes with technology, or creating products that earn income even when they're not actively involved. Each of these moves turns time from a fixed resource into a scalable one. When you start thinking this way, you stop asking, "How can I do more?" and start asking, "How can I make my time do more for me?" Focus also means learning to immerse yourself deeply in whatever truly matters. There's a kind of productivity that comes from doing things quickly, but there's another, much more powerful kind that comes from thinking deeply about a problem without distraction. Big breakthroughs, whether in business, technology, or art, don't come from multitasking. They come from extended periods of focused work, where you can explore ideas fully and build solutions that others don't have the patience to find. This ability to focus intensely is becoming rarer in a world full of constant stimulation, which makes it even more valuable. But protecting your time isn't just about working. It's also about choosing when not to work. Exhaustion kills focus just as surely as distraction does. People who understand the value of time treat rest and recovery as investments too. They step back to see the bigger picture, to think strategically, and to let their ideas mature. They know that a well-rested mind can do in an hour what a burned-out mind struggles to do in a day. So they design their schedules around rhythms that sustain energy and clarity over the long term, instead of chasing constant output. Another part of mastering this asset is the ability to forecast where your focus will create the most leverage. Not every task is equal. Some things you do today might pay off immediately, but the truly valuable actions are the ones that create exponential results in the future. Learning a skill, building a system, or nurturing a key relationship may not look productive in the moment, but over years, those choices compound. The wealthiest people think in decades, not days, and they focus their time accordingly. Valuing time and focus changes how you approach opportunities. You stop chasing every possibility and instead become intentional about where you place your energy. Paradoxically, this makes you faster because you're no longer scattered. You build momentum in one direction, and momentum has a way of attracting resources, people, and chances that make progress even faster. When your time and focus align with your highest priorities, you stop just working in your life and start designing it. Your network and relationships are assets that compound in ways most people never realize. Money might open doors, but relationships build the structures behind those doors. No one creates significant wealth entirely alone. Every breakthrough, every company, every product, every major shift in the world happens because people come together to make it real. The quality of the people you surround yourself with directly affects the scale of what you can achieve. A powerful network starts with trust. Trust is earned slowly but lost quickly, and it's built through consistent action over time. People want to work with those who deliver on their promises, who show up when it matters, and who operate with integrity even when no one is watching. You might think relationships are about getting something from someone else, but the strongest relationships come from providing value first. When you make a habit of helping others succeed, without expecting anything in return, you build a reputation that attracts opportunities naturally. Over time, that reputation becomes a form of currency more valuable than cash. Relationships also multiply your perspective. When you only see the world through your own lens, you limit yourself to your own experiences and biases. But when you build connections with people from different industries, cultures, and backgrounds, you start seeing patterns and opportunities you wouldn't have discovered on your own. Innovation often comes from these collisions of ideas, the kind that happen when you talk to people who think differently than you. The broader and deeper your network, the more likely you are to stumble across insights that can transform your thinking. Another critical part of building this asset is surrounding yourself with people who are smarter than you in specific areas. Many people let their egos get in the way. They want to be the most capable person in every room. But wealth builders deliberately seek out those who challenge them, those who expose their blind spots, and those who force them to grow. When you find people whose strengths complement your weaknesses, you create a kind of collective intelligence that's far more powerful than anything you could achieve alone. Your network also determines your standards. Humans adapt to the environment they're in. If you spend your time with people who settle for mediocrity, you'll start to think mediocrity is normal. But if you immerse yourself in a group that pushes for excellence, your baseline expectations rise automatically. You start playing a bigger game simply because everyone around you is doing the same. This is one of the most overlooked benefits of a strong network. It shapes your mindset through proximity. Relationships aren't just about professional success, though. They're about resilience. Building wealth is never a straight line. There will be moments of doubt, failure, and uncertainty, and in those moments, having people you trust is invaluable. A strong network provides guidance when you're lost, resources when you're limited, and encouragement when you're close to giving up. Sometimes a single conversation with the right person can save you years of wasted effort or inspire you to take the leap you were afraid to take. But building this asset requires intentional effort. It's not about collecting as many contacts as possible. It's about cultivating meaningful connections. That means listening more than you talk, learning about people's goals and challenges, and looking for ways to create mutual benefit. Technology makes it easier than ever to connect superficially, but true relationships are still built the old-fashioned way, through shared experiences, consistent effort, and genuine care. Networks are powerful because they create leverage. The right relationship can introduce you to investors, customers, or partners that exponentially expand your impact. One introduction can change the entire trajectory of your life. And once your network reaches a certain scale and quality, opportunities begin to find you instead of the other way around. You move from pushing to pulling, from chasing to attracting. That's when this asset becomes transformative. When your relationships don't just support your success, they accelerate it. Health and energy are the foundation upon which every other asset is built. You can have the best ideas, the sharpest skills, and the most powerful network, but without the physical and mental stamina to sustain your efforts, those assets eventually collapse. People often ignore this until it's too late, sacrificing their health in pursuit of success, only to discover that poor health robs them of the ability to enjoy or even maintain what they've built. Wealth without energy is a hollow achievement. Physical health is not just about avoiding illness. It's about creating the capacity to perform at your highest level for as long as possible. The body is like an engine. Treat it well, and it generates the power you need to push forward. Neglect it, and it breaks down at the worst possible time. Regular exercise, good nutrition, and adequate sleep aren't luxuries. They're investments. Each workout compounds into greater strength and resilience. Each healthy meal is a small deposit into your future vitality. Each night of proper rest sharpens your focus and decision-making, allowing you to operate with clarity, while others are dulled by fatigue. But health isn't purely physical. Mental and emotional energy are just as critical. Building wealth demands creativity, adaptability, and resilience, all of which depend on a strong mind. Stress is inevitable in any ambitious pursuit, but how you handle it determines whether it becomes fuel or poison. Practices that keep your mind steady, like mindfulness, journaling, or simply taking time to think, aren't signs of slowing down. They're strategies for staying in the game longer and stronger. A calm mind makes better decisions. An anxious, exhausted mind chases distractions and reacts emotionally, often destroying progress it worked hard to achieve. Energy is also deeply tied to purpose. People who are clear about why they're doing something tend to access levels of stamina that others can't. When your work aligns with your deeper values, effort feels less like a drain and more like a natural expression of who you are. This doesn't mean you won't face exhaustion or setbacks, but it means you'll have a reason to push through them. Purpose transforms hard work from something you endure into something you embrace. Without that, even small challenges feel unbearable. Another overlooked element of this asset is recovery. Many people treat rest as a reward for working hard, but it's actually part of the work itself. Just as muscles grow stronger during recovery after exercise, your ability to think and create expands when you step away and recharge. Burnout isn't a badge of honor. It's a signal that you're eroding your most valuable resource. Wealth builders design systems that allow them to sustain their energy. They delegate tasks that drain them, focus on work that energizes them, and create routines that keep them grounded no matter how chaotic things get. Relationships and environment also play a role in health and energy. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, and your energy rises. Surround yourself with negativity and constant drama, and your energy drains even when you're not actively doing anything. Likewise, the spaces you inhabit, whether cluttered and distracting or organized and inspiring, affect how you feel and how you perform. The wealthy often prioritize building environments that support their well-being because they understand that energy is contagious, both positively and negatively. Ultimately, health and energy are force multipliers. With them, every other asset grows faster. Without them, progress slows and eventually stops. Think about it this way. What's the point of gaining financial freedom if your body can't enjoy it? What's the use of building a powerful network if you're too exhausted to leverage it? By making health and energy a priority now, you're not just protecting your future, you're enhancing your present. You're giving yourself the stamina to seize opportunities fully, to think bigger, and to execute on your vision without burning out halfway there.